Regardless of my overall thoughts on this final chapter, before I even, get into my thoughts on it, it's sad to see it go. I've been reading Bleach since around 2011, and also watched the anime. I caught up rather quickly when I started reading the manga. It's sad to see the series go, regardless of how it went out, and what's currently been happening in the latest chapters. It's sad to see it go, and I'm sad for Kubo, I'm sad for the fans, I'm sad for the long-term fans, I'm just sad all around, because it's over, and we don't get that ending we all wanted when we first set out and started either watching or reading Bleach. So, before I even get into any negativity, okay, let's just talk about something real quick to just get it on the table. As a final chapter, overall, there's nothing really to say bad about this chapter. Like, okay, let me put it in perspective. If this was, let's say, an epilogue, and everything else was already explained beforehand, like, let's say, Kubo got to write it all properly, it wasn't rushed, and this being the final chapter, as an epilogue, as a single little piece of a chapter, it was a good chapter. Like, I have no problems necessarily with this said chapter in question. I don't. But in terms of being the final ribbon on Bleach, I can't really agree with this chapter. But as a chapter, though, in general, it was good. And the epilogue, I think, is satisfying for some. And, I mean, I'm happy with some of the things that happened in the chapter, but overall, it still leaves much disappointment. So, let's talk about the good. So, we get to find out kind of a little bit of an epilogue on the different individual characters that have been around Ichigo and stuff. We get to see who Ichigo gets with, which is Orihime. And I'm going to be honest here, I'm not the biggest fan when it comes to ships and stuff in anime or manga. I mean, I ship characters all the time, yes, but I don't let that solely drive myself through a series. For instance, like say, okay, this character needs to be with this said character, and if this doesn't happen, I want to hate said series for the rest of my life. I'm not one like that. I mean, if a character gets with someone that I didn't want him to get with, I'd be completely fine with it. As long as the story was good, everything was written properly, I am fine with however the characters, whatever they find happy, and how they end their happiness with. I mean, I'm completely fine with that. So, Ichigo being with Orihime, it's a plus for me, because to be honest, that was my ship. But I know that there's going to be probably many fans that are a Rukia Ichigo, ship pairing, and they are just going to probably be very pissed off when they sit down and read this chapter, and I really, really hope that the people that ship Rukia and Ichigo aren't going to allow themselves to just think the series is complete trash because those two got together, because that's not really the big problem here. That's not the problem with this chapter. I think we shall be happy that Ichigo got to be with someone, even though I wish there was a little bit more build-up and setup for Ichigo and Orihime. I mean, Rukia too, even if they would have ended together too, I would like more, set up and romance build up and stuff, but it didn't happen, because we know what's been going on in the recent chapters. So, overall, when it comes to conclusion of the ships and pairings, I'm fine with it. I have no issues whatsoever. The children are quite cute. I mean, getting to see Renji and Rukia's child, very cute. I love the design of the child. I love Ichigo's child as well, the way his design is, Kazui. So, I mean, I don't have any problems at all with the children, to the setup, and I mean, the way this overall looks, to be honest with you, it looks like it's a setup for like some form of spin-off sequel. That's exactly the way this final chapter looks. And I'm going to be honest, granted if Bleach was very popular and it had a lot of popularity right now, and it wasn't probably getting rush canceled, I believe that we probably would get a spin-off sequel. I mean, maybe it's still a possibility somewhere down the road, maybe like, I guess a year or two down the road, a future, maybe we might get like a spin-off sequel of, what happens after the events of what happened in this chapter. Maybe we might get something like that. Maybe it might get like the Naruto treatment, get a continuation. But for now, though, I highly doubt we're going to probably get a continuation after these events, because I feel like, what we got was like something that, Kubo wanted to do, and probably wanted to set up for maybe a sequel spin-off, but he couldn't do it because, Weekly Shonen Jump. So, my final thoughts of, the good side of the chapter, it was decent. It was a good epilogue. It was. And that's roughly what I want to say. In terms of being a final chapter, it's not necessarily a bad chapter. So, I guess, in a way, it's a good way for, Bleach to end in any possible way. So, getting off of that, let's dive into something. So, I'm going to show a picture on the screen, and I can't be bothered with to go through all these individual topics because it would take way too fucking long. I haven't even had my morning coffee yet. You can probably see I'm tired, and I just got up, and I gotta tell you right now, all these problems you see on the screen, it's thanks to Chibi sitting me on Twitter, giving me these pictures. And this was compiled by people on Reddit and stuff and 4chan, and just to see all these unanswered questions that this finale leaves us, I am just absolutely disgusted. Not with Kubo, but with Shonen Jump and how they can allow something like this to happen. Look at all of these plot points. Minor plot points, big, major plot points, these questions, all of these things never answered. And granted, you shouldn't always expect to see every plot point answered. I don't expect every single individual plot point to be answered. Not many writers can actually accomplish a feat like that. You have to really plan out and write and figure something out before you even conclude the series. And I highly doubt any writer could probably answer all of these plot points in a short amount of time. So that's not my real big issue here. But my big issue is at the very least I wish half of these, or at least half of the major plot points could have been answered, but they were not. So just seeing this right here, it really upsets me to see that these are questions we will never have answered for Bleach ever, no matter what. And since we recently got the announcement of a live-action movie of Bleach, it's even sadder, because you're like, fuck. So we're not getting a continuation of the anime that might be able to fix this shit. We're not probably getting a sequel spin-off series because it's been rushed to fucking hell. And so you're like, oh my god, these questions, they're not going to get answered. They're not going to get answered. This is here to stay. Like, this is the final ribbon. You're not getting these questions answered. I mean, there's just so many. Like, one of my big questions is, like, Colin. Like, Colin, what happened? What happened to Colin? Like, what was his overall role, too, in the series? I mean, remember how he was going to be a big part, and then he just disappeared? What the fuck? And then, I mean, there's other characters, like you got the zombie girl and all that. I mean, how certain characters survived. I mean, the overall thing about Kenpachi. I mean, there's just so many characters that I could dive into and ask, like, what's going on? I mean, Grimjaw. I mean, Urahara. I mean, what the hell? The Soul King? Who is the new Soul King? I mean, there's just a lot of questions, okay? And as I said, I don't expect every question to be answered, because not everything could be answered, especially with how many was left. But I would have very least liked a lot of them to be answered, and it's sad when you look at this information here, you're like, yo, it's very apparent, yeah, he got rushed, because there's just no way Kubo wanted that to happen. So I'm just sad. I'm super sad because, look, as I've said, I've been reading and watching Bleach since 2011, and I'm not the biggest long-term fan of Bleach. I'm not. I mean, there's probably many fans out there probably watching this video right now that have been with Bleach way longer than I have, and I feel so bad. I feel so bad for myself for reading the series and seeing this conclusion. I feel so bad for the readers as well that have read this and now see this, because we didn't all want this. We didn't want this, finale like this, and it just sickens me how Weekly Shonen Jump did this to Kubo and all that. It completely sickens me, and so I really wish I could give this treatment the same as I said for my final words of, Naruto. I mean, I really like Bleach. It's not my favorite, obviously, but just to see it end like this, I felt like it deserved so much more respect, and it did not get that respect it deserved at all. Because, I mean, look, Weekly Shonen Jump, regardless of however you feel about Bleach now, Bleach helped you get where you were a long time ago in the past, along with side of Naruto and One Piece, and seeing how you just shaft the entirety of the manga Bleach like this, it's kind of sad. So, my final thoughts, I wish there was more. I do. I wish there was more. This is definitely a series I wish there was more chapters, because with all these questions and all that, this is what really, makes or breaks the series for me. As I've said many times in my, my anime reviews or manga reviews I've done in the past. I even made a video on it. I've even made a video on it, on the topic. Can an anime's ending or manga's ending make or break a series? And as I said many times, yes, because when you think back on a series, just let's be honest here, when you think back on a series after you finish it, read it, or watch it, you usually think of the ending or the beginning first. And if you think of the ending after you finish it, you're thinking like, I didn't like that ending, you'll probably hate that series. You won't like the entire series. You'll probably not recommend it to others. And that's the sad truth. It's the straight up sad truth. And I mean, I honestly, I just don't know how to feel, because I mean, this finale, the epilogue was good, but the questions, it's just too great. It's just too great. So, I'm done. I'm done. I'm so sad that I have to end my final video of Bleach on this. You don't know how sad I am right now. So, you all have a wonderful day or night wherever you live. Regardless of however it was, congratulations, Kubo, for keeping us entertained for all these years. Congratulations on writing Bleach for so long. And hopefully your next work doesn't get the exact same treatment that this got. Hopefully, whatever you write in the near future, I wish it the best of luck. And hopefully you learned a lot after what Weekly Shonen Jump did to you. So you all have a wonderful day or night wherever you live. Please be safe. Chibi out.